Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is the opening of a new vlog. I think this is going to be the first 2 weeks of the month of December, and I have quite a few books that I've picked for my TBR in the month of December. Although some of them are just passed on from last month because I just couldn't get to them or I couldn't finish them in their entirety. And there's also one book that is a break that I have been reading for several months and I just really want to finish it this year. Here's all the books I need to read. I can't even lift this without hurting, but here's all the books that I said I would read in the month of December. However, the one at the bottom of the pile, To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, I've already read, I think 80% of it. I only have 250 pages left, something like that, so it's not that big of a deal. It's more like a normal sized book. And the one above it, The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, was from last month and I've read 200 pages of it, so I only have 200 pages left. That's right, I'm currently reading The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, which is a sci-fi adult novel, and I'm enjoying it myself. It's really fun at the moment, but with the only caveat that I don't really love the fact that there's no violence really at the moment. There's not that much happening, it's more you get to know the crew and I really like them and I find them all very attaching and very well rounded and written characters, but that's about it. Nothing's really truly happened. There's not a huge storyline at the moment. I think that's the only thing that's lacking for me, but we'll see because I still have 200 pages left and it feels like maybe this could be because this is more of a setup book for a bigger, wider series, which happens sometimes with fantasy novels and maybe with sci-fi novels as well. So that might be the case, I don't know. I feel like I will have a better idea of whether this series will have more storylines throughout each book after I've read the last 200 pages. Then I'm also currently reading To Sleep in a Sea of Stars. I'm currently on page 652. I've had a little bit of progress since the beginning of the month, basically. So I forgot to mention that today is Sunday the 5th of November and that I've already had 5 days in the month, and I've actually been reading a little bit of To Sleep in a Sea of Stars when I was on my commute because I have it on my Kindle, because I'm not gonna carry this around with me. It's 900 pages. So I have made a little bit more progress to where I was last time when I first started on it at the beginning of the month, because I think I was 50 pages before where I am now. So I only have about 250 left, which is a short book, so could do it. And also it reads really fast, it's fast paced and it's very actiony, so it feels a little bit like reading a movie. So it's quite easy to read. I think I'm just gonna let past me talk about this book because I was originally gonna film this for an actual themed video about reading sci-fi novels, and I don't know that this will ever see the light of day. So I'm just gonna let past me talk about my thoughts while I was reading this book. So I have now reached this page here, so I've read this much. I still have all of this, but I just thought it's the equivalent of my usual 100 first pages of a book, except this time it's actually 300 pages that I have read. So I've pretty much read an entire book in some respects, like some books are 300 pages, but I still have 2/3, I guess. I'm also not going to be holding this book up like this the entire time because it's fucking heavy. So in this book we follow our main character Kira, I think her last name is Navarez, and she is a xenobiologist who works on some off-planet somewhere. We're obviously in the future and they talk about Earth as in that's home, like the home world where a lot of people come from, but most people have been born on other systems, other planets, blah blah blah, and no one that she knows of really is directly from Earth anymore. She is on a mission somewhere and she works with a bunch of other people in a crew, including Alan, who's her fiancé, and they're kind of like, okay, this is like our last mission and then I think we should like settle somewhere and do something else. And just in terms of like how long they have to be away from their home planet or something, they both seem like they're ready to settle somewhere and just not have to do the same amount of travels and being away from each other sometimes and all that. So he proposes to her and it's very romantic and cutesy and all that, and it's just like, okay, you're gonna die, aren't you? At the very least, that's how I felt from the very first moments that they introduced him, just because it was like, I know she's the main character because we're in a first person POV from her point of view, and It feels rushed. It just felt a little bit strange. I was just like, okay, this is very like piling on all the feely, warm, fuzzy feelings type of content that feels fake and a little bit too much and extra. I don't know how else to explain this. It just felt a little bit like we were told how great their relationship was instead of shown. And yeah, that's kind of the beginning of it. And then Kira is like on a mission off site or whatever somewhere. She's like, oh, there's that thing over there that I should go and explore for this person who's really interested in it. So she goes there in like her individual suit or something, and when she does, she finds something strange over there that seems to her like there's life, which seems extremely weird because we live in a world where humans still think that they're the only ones out there. But then something happens, she loses consciousness, and when she wakes up, she's covered in like some sort of a skin suit thing, and she realizes that it's alien life and it's taken her over. So she's transported back to the ship that she was on before with like her crew and all that, and they're trying to analyze this skin suit thing that's going on and figure out what the hell is happening. And then they realize that they're going to be stuck there because alien life means they have to be almost quarantined, and so they're not allowed to go back to where they wanted to go back to. And they're already panicking about that and everything's going wrong. And then it becomes worse because Suit starts acting up, and basically Kira accidentally kills everyone. Like there are spikes that come off her and that kill everyone who's in the room, including Alan, her fiancé. And I was like, damn, I was right, you weren't gonna last. And it was a little bit disappointing. I wish it had been done slightly better. That's the one thing so far that I was like, oh, that didn't feel like great writing, because I could tell from the very beginning, and it just like the relationship annoyed me from the start. So I was like, I hope it doesn't last and I hope you get killed. And then he does get killed off. So I was like, okay, fair enough. But that all happens like in the first 100 pages or so, which is a tiny bit of this huge 900 pages book, so I don't think that this is a spoiler. What happens next is that Kira is actually taken by another ship that's like telling her, we have to take you on board for, you know, observation and all that, and they do like experiments on the skin suit and all that. And she starts realizing that the skin suit in question has a name, and it's translated by something like the soft blade. She understands it, wants certain things, and listens to her intents in a way, so she starts learning to control it and isn't killing people off randomly by accident anymore. But also it has triggered the arrival of another alien life, which they start calling the jellies. And they're basically monstrous jelly-like creatures who start attacking the humans, you know, in the galaxy and just everywhere where there's life. And so there's like a war that starts, and she realizes that she understands what they're saying and that she could really be an asset because she's wearing that skin suit that she cannot take off, the soft blade. She's actually able to, through the soft blade, understand the language of the jellies. I think I'm gonna stop explaining the situation here because anything else further might be spoilers. I really thought, reading the synopsis and hearing other people's reviews of this book online, like on BookTube and stuff, that it was going to be a lot more literary almost, which worried me slightly because I was like, do I really want to read that? That's not actually a genre that I love. And then it ended up being a really good surprise for me because I actually think it's super fast-paced, action-packed, and most importantly, it reads like a movie. I don't know who else to explain this, but it really reads like you're watching a movie happening, or like a big TV show, I don't know, but it feels more action-y than literary, that's for sure. Back to present me, the only other book that I'm currently also reading, because I've started a third one, is The Love Hypothesis, and I've just heard so much about this book on TikTok, on BookTube, everywhere, on all the social media platforms. It seems to be having a huge success, and I started it last night and I see the hype. I see it because it's a very feel-good, easy, fast-paced romance, but with actually well-written characters and just a really nice writing style in general, which I don't mean this in an offensive way, but I have read quite a few badly written romance, and sometimes I've had to overlook it just because I was like, the story is nice, it's fine that it's not written that well, or the other way around sometimes, where I'd be like, oh, I hate the story, but this is a nice writing style. And I just find it rare when something that feels a little bit more like easy, feel good, fast-paced type of romances are actually generally really, really good as well. At the moment I'm really enjoying it, and I find that the characters' chemistry is off the charts. It's really nicely done, and I feel like maybe it's just the author who writes really, really well a sexy male character, which I think is kind of rare, and I don't always find that the male characters that we're meant to find interesting in terms of romance potential are usually what the author is trying to achieve, but I find that in this case, this guy is. So I've just gone on a little shopping trip in town, and I went to Waterstones, and I ended up buying some books for me and some books for gifts for people. And I also really liked this bag that they had curled up with a good book. I thought it was really cute, and I needed a proper like carrier bag thing, so I just decided to get that with it. So no one needs to see how much that cost me. So I got a mini book haul to show you guys. So the first book that I got is Anxious People, which I have read and have loved. They have it now in paperback, and they also had a cool deal, buy one get one half price. So I got this one as a gift for my partner's mother because I think that she might enjoy this kind of story. I hope that I'm right, because he doesn't really know much about what kind of books they would like, his parents. So I feel like hopefully this will be a good gift book. And actually, I bought these two online earlier as well for his dad, so I know that his dad really likes thrillers and classic type of thrillers, so I picked up these two Japanese ones that I've absolutely adored as well this year, which is the Deccan House Murders, which is a little bit inspired by Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None, and then I also picked up the Hunjin Murders, which I have absolutely loved. The only thing that makes me really upset is that the version they sent me clearly had a sticker on it at some point, and that you can see the trace of it, and that they've taken it off really badly. You have a little bit of a trace of it, and it really upsets me because this is meant as a gift, so I hope that he won't mind too much, but I'm a little bit annoyed at this because it's such a beautiful edition of it. Anyway, these are gifts. And then what else is a gift? Yes, for my brother I have picked up the Inugami Curse because I have bought it myself. It's the next one in this series, as in from the same author as this one. I'm not holding it right, this is the Hunjin Murders. And the next one in the series that they've translated recently is the Inugami Curse. So I bought this one for my brother because I have it as well and we can read it at the same time. And then I've bought for myself the next one, which is The Village of Eight Graves, which is the next one again after the Inugami Curse that they've literally just published this one, I think. And I mean, I really loved the first book that I read of this author, so I just feel like the rest I'm gonna enjoy as well. So that's the next book I picked up. And then since they had that buy one get one half price deal going on, I bought this for myself, which is the Marlowe Murder Club. And it just sounded really fun. This sounds very similar in premise to the Thursday Murder Club, where old retired people in a retirement village decide to solve murders together, but it's probably going to be done in a very different way, and I like the premise regardless of the fact that I love the Thursday Murder Club, so I think I might still enjoy a different take on that kind of story. And then finally I got myself Crazy Rich Asians because I really enjoyed the movie that I only watched this year, and I really wanted to read the books as well, and I know that they're really similar to the movie, so I really thought that I should pick this up just to know what happens next and to some of the other characters so that I can read the other books before the next movies come out. So I'm pretty happy with my book haul. And that's it. This was just a little interlude between me reading books of me buying books. Hello, I'm back, and I have now literally just finished reading The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. I'm pretty happy with this read overall. I actually think I'm gonna rate it 4 stars, and for a while I was in the middle of it, I thought it would be a 3 stars. I thought it would be something a little bit more average, and then as I finished it towards the end, it went up to a 4 stars for me. I wouldn't say it's a 5 stars because I do have some issues with it, but overall really enjoyed it, really enjoyed the ending, and definitely want to read the next one, especially by the end. So I think what happened is that a little bit of action started happening, and I was really happy to see that because I do love myself some actiony sci-fi, and I was worried about it not happening because of the characters' views on violence and all that, but it did end up happening. But the reason why I was struggling with it at first is because it felt like it had no plot, and it was a little bit more like introducing the characters, getting to know them, and I was like, yeah, I get it, I like them, I'm growing attached to them, and this feels very much like an old sci-fi TV show type of thing where you grow attached to everyone on the crew and everything, and yeah, all that I was fine. But it was advancing slowly, and it didn't feel like the book had an actual plot line. And then I realized by the end of reading this book that it was exactly what it was. It was like a TV show. A lot of the books that I read sometimes feel more like a movie. They have, you know, the beginning, the middle, and the end. They feel very much like an actual movie. They feel like they've been written that way, and I think most stories that I read feel that way. This book felt realistically more like an actual TV show, like watching a series, because you had smaller plots throughout it, and then a bigger one that was, you know, ascending towards the end, so it wasn't very prominent at the beginning, and then it started appearing towards the middle, and it still took a while for it to, I want to say, go up. But basically by the end of it, I was happy with the overall plot line and where the characters had gone and their development and their character arcs and all that, and it made me feel like, yeah, I had watched a TV show, like followed a full storyline, rather than for it to be all at once, like in a movie, a little bit slower pace, like in a series. Last night I finished reading The Love Hypothesis, and I really enjoyed myself. I rated it 4 stars. It was really fast-paced and easy to just get in the flow of it and want to finish it as fast as possible. Like, it's one of those books that you know you want to read in 1 or 2 sittings. You don't really want to spend a whole week waiting to know what's going to happen next, etc. It feels like the story just continues on without any dull moment or any moments that you feel like are a good break. You just want to continue reading until you're done, really. So that's what happened. Really enjoyed myself. Thought that the romance itself was super adorable. The main characters were so cute. All their friends really liked them. Really liked all the friendship thematics around this book as well. Because the fake dating does happen because of initially the main character wants to make her best friend think that she's dating someone so that she will feel free to date her ex and doesn't feel bad about it. So that's what happens initially, and I really liked the thematic of friendship in this book. I really liked the main character as well. She has such a funny personality, and the male interest keeps calling her a smartass because she really is, and I really enjoyed their banter. So 4 stars for this book. I did start listening to the audiobook as well of Mary Jane, and I'm not sure how I feel about this. Let me show you the cover. This is the cover, and it made me think music, obviously, because it has a vinyl and it's very much inspired by Daisy Jones and the Six, and that tends to happen when publishers want you to think of a book so that you'll buy this other book. Basically, they'll be like, ooh, this is very similar to this really famous one that had a lot of success, so we're going to brand it in a very similar manner so that people will look at it and be like, oh, I like this other one, so I should buy this one. Which is pretty much what happened to me. I saw the cover for Mary Jane and then read the synopsis and was like, oh, it sounds a bit like Daisy Jones and the Six. We're basically talking about this girl, Mary Jane, who is a 14-year-old in 1970s Baltimore. She's got very strict parents who are a little bit old school. It says here that she gets a job as a nanny for the daughter of a local doctor. A respectable job, Mary Jane's mother says, in a respectable house. But the house, even though it looks respectable on the outside, in reality it's a lot more of a mess inside. And technically the doctor is actually a psychiatrist. He has an important job in the house over the summer, which is to help a famous rock star get clean. Over the course of the summer, Mary Jane introduces her new household to crisply ironed clothes and a family dinner schedule. In return, she has a front row seat to a liberal world of sex, drugs and rock and roll. Not to mention group therapy. Caught between the lifestyle she's always known and the future she's only just realised is possible, Mary Jane will arrive at September with a new idea about what she wants out of life and what kind of person she's going to be. So this is very much a coming of age type of book, which I knew from the start, from this synopsis. However, and I'm really not far in, I'm only 15 or 20 pages in, but I have gone through different pages throughout the book just to check after reading the beginning, after listening to the beginning and thinking, is this going to be like that the entire time? But basically, there are so many mentions of sex in general. There's like the moment where the kid is drawing something that her mom then says, oh, it looks like a dildo. There's the moment where Mary Jane sees the new neighbor and sees down her blouse and thinks she's really hot. There's so many passages about that. And then I was skipping a little bit through and just checking out other passages, and I kept finding every single page that I would open, there would be something about sex. So I don't know what this book is about, but it's just not what it claims to be about. I feel like in my head it was going to be a lot more about the rock and roll side of things, a lot more about, yeah, maybe a little bit sex and drugs as well, but mostly a music type of experience. And right now there's not a single mention of music. I get that we're gonna have a rock star coming in and that he's not arrived yet, so maybe that's why, but just overall it doesn't feel like the same vibe I'm getting from the cover and the synopsis that I am getting from reading the book.
Once the bath was ready, I picked up Izzy and placed her in. She splashed around, playing with a bucket of foam alphabet letters. When she stopped moving so much, I poured a palmful of Johnson's baby shampoo into my hair.
Today is the 10th of December, it is Friday, and basically I have decided to continue reading a little bit of Mary Jane. I mean, mostly just listening to the audiobook, and I think this is one of these books that I'm perfectly fine with just the audiobook. I don't even think I partially need to read the physical book, but I like to keep track of where I am and just every now and then be like, oh, there'll be a chapter ending around this time, so I should just continue on. And I do think that if I were to read it physically, I would go faster because it is a really fast-paced read, but it's quite nice to have it in the background while I'm working, so that's what I've been doing. So I'm currently page 98, which is approximately 100 pages, which is where I said I would stop to decide whether I wanted to continue or DNF it. And currently I'm actually enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. Originally, I really felt like a lot of the passages that I kept listening to and reading were very heavily sexual and just in a way that felt a little bit uncomfortable. It's not like anything sexy, it's not like reading a romance book or anything like that, it's just a coming of age story, and this girl Mary Jane is discovering things about her own sexuality. I don't even think it's about her sexuality in the sense of she's going to discover she likes women or anything like that. It's just that she's discovering what it is to be a sexual being and to have sexual urges. And I was worried listening to the first part of the book that it was going to be really prominent and that it was going to be mostly about that. Now that I've listened a little bit more, I think it's not as prominent as I feared, and there is a lot more of the coming of age story that's got to do with her discovering of the fact that her voice is really good because she's been singing in church, but that she kind of likes rock and roll music. Her discovery of just basic things like what marijuana is, because she heard someone call marijuana Mary Jane, which is her name, and so she discovered what it was. It's small things, but it's so much more interesting that way, and I am really happy that my fears were unfounded. At the moment, I'm really enjoying all the characters that are involved in the book. So she meets this musician and his wife who have to stay with Dr. Cohn and his wife and their kid, and she's the summer nanny for the kid Izzy. And the musician is Jimmy and his wife is Sheba, and Jimmy and Sheba are very fun and just are the ones who really do make her discover a lot of things. And also it's just interesting because she does come from a very strict and closed up family, so she's realizing how other people live their lives and how it's normal sometimes to say bad words or to skip dinner or have takeaway instead of cooking it. Basic things that she's just never had in her own household, but she's also at the same time bringing in a little bit of order to their household because they're very chaotic and messy, and Dr. Cohn and his wife don't seem to have that much time to properly take care of Izzy, the kid. So she is being like, okay, I'm gonna teach her how to clean up her room and basic things like that that are quite interesting as well. So I'm enjoying myself a lot more, and so far the story is cute and really fast-paced and flowy. Like, it's so easy just to listen to it, and I'm kind of like, yeah, I could continue and know what else is gonna go on in there. So happy that I ended up continuing and giving it a second chance, and I guess I will finish this book and let you know how I feel about it. I have listened quite a lot to the audiobook of Mary Jane. I'm currently page 206 and I'm really enjoying it, actually, way more than I thought I would. So I'm gonna definitely finish this book, I'm gonna continue it, and I'm probably gonna finish it today. Maybe tonight, because I don't know how much time I'll have to read anymore, because it's already 3:20 in the afternoon, and I have to wrap presents and get ready to go to my boyfriend's parents, because we're doing early Christmas with them while I'm in the country before I go to Belgium for the actual Christmas holidays. So I'm gonna be listening to the audiobook of this while I'm wrapping some presents. Hello again. So today is Sunday the 12th of December, and I have literally just finished reading Mary Jane, and it is 7 p.m, so I still have time to read a little bit more of something else if I need to, but I'm pretty happy that I finished this one today. Really enjoyed it, so much more than I thought I would by the end, and really appreciated having the audiobook as well, because although I expected there to be more songs, in the end there's only one truly that's like at the very end of the audiobook. That is the title song, and that is referred to in the last two chapters. So I was happy to have that so that I could listen to it while reading these last two chapters, and that made a little bit of a difference as well to how I read it in my head, because obviously you can read the lyrics and be like, okay, but then it's not the same as actually listening to someone playing the actual song. So that was really fun, and I really liked the, I don't really want to give any spoilers, but I feel like it's pretty clear to me that this doesn't have, you know, a bad or sad ending to it, so I'm just gonna say that. And I liked the way that the ending wrapped things up nicely, but with a little bit of openness to what's going to happen in the future, what's going to happen to our title character Mary Jane and the characters in her life. So Izzy, the kid she was babysitting, but also her mother, and there's a lot more towards the end with her relationship with her mom, and I really liked how the author wrapped this in the last chapters. So I'd say probably a 4 stars for me. I am still currently reading To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, and I'm page 686, so I've got about 140 pages left of this book. It is a brick, so I am taking my time. I'm not reading it constantly because it's also kind of annoying to carry around, so I'm mostly reading it when I'm commuting and things like that, so on my phone. And I do think I'm gonna try and finish it like the coming week, so within this vlog anyway, so that I can wrap it up within this vlog. today is Tuesday the 14th of December, and last night I finished reading To Sleep in a Sea of Stars. It was really good, I really enjoyed myself, and I really liked the ending. I think I ended up rating it 4 stars. I don't think it was quite a 5 stars for me, but it was pretty high up and it was really, really enjoyable. I think the ending surprised me more than anything. I wasn't expecting it to go the way it went. But not in a bad way. I just don't think that I could have pictured that ending, possibly. So it was a really nice addition to the book to have an ending that was so different from what I'd expected from the genre. And also it kind of left it close enough, like everything was wrapped up enough that I was really happy and satisfied with the way the story ended, but also open enough that we could get a sequel. There was still that little bit of a, you know, that door slightly open to a potential sequel. Very happy with this book. This was so much fun. I can't believe I started it in May. So I checked my Goodreads when I went to set up my rating and say that I was finished with this book, and I started reading it on the 5th of May this year. So that's been quite a few months. I still have all of these books that I want to read this month in December, but I guess one of them is a novella. One of them is a young adult, and then obviously we have these other 3 that are, I'd say, regular sized books, and yeah. So on this note, I'm gonna end this vlog here. I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog, and I will see you guys in part 2 of my December vlog. And please leave a like, leave a comment, consider subscribing, all that jazz, and I'll see you guys next time.